Hello, welcome to Casualty Connect, our video series on AI and the P&C insurance industry. I'm Frank Giaoui, CEO and founder of Optimalex, and today I am with Rosalie Donlon. Rosalie, you are our guest speaker today. You are a former attorney, and you currently provide editorial content to the P&C insurance industry. Welcome, Rosalie.
Hello, Frank. Nice to be here.
Thank you. So the subjects we will cover today with you, Rosalie, is AI and ethics in the insurance industry, in the P&C insurance industry. So maybe some preliminary thoughts, Rosalie, from your experience in this industry, from your experience as also a former attorney, what initial thought do you want to share about AI in insurance?
I think it's important to remember that AI isn't new. We've been using some form of AI for a long time, uh, but the development of large language models and learning models has jumped dramatically. So that what once, even with AI, took maybe a day, now takes an hour or even less. So I think part of the ethical issues is still learning to harness the power of that AI and not just throw it into your IT system without some thought.
Okay, thank you. So some are thoughts which basically says this is another tool for business decisions, and you should start by deciding what is the objective of this tool, for what you will be using AI. So maybe you can share with us some of the use cases of where AI is mostly used in P&C industry.
AI is probably most useful in the claims space. It allows you to see patterns that you might not have seen before. Some people I've spoken with in the industry have mentioned that they they've seen repeated claims that didn't always make sense, or with a particular client that with a particular insured that they seemed to have multiple locations, but each location had a similar claim with a similar fact pattern that just seemed to be an anomaly. Could have been real, but maybe not. So it allows you to see patterns where you might see fraud and pull those situations out. It also allows you with certain claims to be able to say, this client, this insured has repeat claims. Maybe we need to go in with some risk management tools for them, with some consulting on how to minimize risk and limit future claims. Um, it and it sort of ties in there then with you've analyzed the claims, you've come up with some risk management tools, and now you're underwriting based on what you've learned along the way using some of that AI.
Okay, okay, thank you. So now coming to the subjects of ethics and starting progressively. First premise is about data, right? AI is trained with data, and it's nothing artificial, it's just humans providing this data. So, what would be the precaution, I would say, when some of our clients are selecting an AI system?
One of the first questions I think they need to ask is who or what has trained the system? Is the data proprietary? Is it collective from the industry? Is it from another source, a public source, the driver database or something similar to that? And once you've incorporated it into your own database, does the algorithm show that it can be reasonably objective? It doesn't have false premises in there or skewed biases. And when you're gathering the data, if you're getting it from an outside source, do you have permission to use it?
Hmm.
Can you just look at it, or are are you authorized to actually absorb it into yours?
Yeah.
And then, with the AI, do the two sets of data talk to each other in an appropriate manner?
Okay. So now we are really speaking about the ethics. We are aware in the past of some situations where AI was accused to perpetuate certain biases. You may mention some examples. So, how do you take that into consideration when you are a property and casualty insurance carrier, or maybe only a specialized carrier, maybe in excess and surplus, or some professional liability lines? How do you ensure that you are not perpetuating those biases?
I think you need to start, it always starts with the data. I think you need to run some scenarios and to perhaps examine what results you get with analyzing claims, for example. And if you choose a certain segment, what results do you get now with updated AI versus what you had before? We know that most of the biases have been targeted by zip code, that insurance carriers have been accused of redlining, or that in certain zip codes they're charging more. If you can run sample scenarios to see if I'm putting the data in objectively, do the numbers come out higher?
Right.
If what are the risk factors? What am I using to assess the risk factors? I think it's important to understand the history and what I'm using. And it's important, I think, to share with the policyholder, you know,
Yeah.
generally factors
Yeah.
that you are or are not using, or to be transparent about the fact that you are aware of the previous biases and you are working to counteract them.
Right. So this leads me to another question. You are describing a process where artificial intelligence and human expertise are really combined. You are not leaving artificial intelligence providing your claim outcome by itself. Um, and so there is also here an answer to the fantasy or of the professionals in the insurance industry mentioning the claims adjusters, for instance, being afraid of being replaced by AI. This doesn't seem to happen soon, anytime soon, right?
No, I think if the claims adjusters kind of look back at it, the idea of AI allows them to work smarter, not harder. It allows them to sift through the piles of claims on their desk, for example, and actually pull out for them key issues with any given claim. That, as I said, if you've got a client that's had repeat claims, you may see that pattern more effectively because the AI is pulling it out for you. And the AI is not making a judgment generally. It's only calling things to the person's attention that they can fix or review.
Understood. Understood. Um, Finally, there is one question about transparency. Do you inform clients and business partners that you are using AI, and how do you inform them?
I think that's where the insurance company has to make a judgment call as to who needs to know that they're using AI and in what capacity. I mean, in some cases, there's a fine line between revealing proprietary information and trade secrets and then being transparent. I I think the company has to review each use of AI in each bucket. And we talked about claims, we talked about fraud, we talked about underwriting, risk management. And there is a way to sort of convey to business partners who are feeding you data that, I'm using my AI and I'm taking your data and I'm looking for this result, or I'm looking for this information or report. But then for the policyholder, it's positioning the AI as, I'm using this to be better informed about the risks you have so that we can provide risk mitigation and perhaps lower your costs.
Right.
So it's, as with all business processes, it's, requires thought and requires analysis.
Right. Any final thoughts as to the evolution in the future? You have a long-standing experience in both in the legal industry and the P&C insurance industry. What about the next 5 years, let's say, with AI?
I think AI and its evolution as it jumps, leaps, and bounds is going to complicate things. Insurance is a risk-averse industry. It also, for many carriers, they have long-standing legacy systems. Ideally, AI will help them move ahead and take advantage of the long history they have in those legacy systems, but allow them to be more efficient and assess risk better so that they better serve their policyholders and not just do things in a routine way.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rosalie. That was fantastic. That was Rosalie Donlon, and it's Casualty Connect, our video series about AI in the P&C industry. I'm Frank Giaoui, founder and CEO of Optimalex. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.